Welcome, and today we're going to continue on with homeowners where we left off. And what we're up to now are uh, the homeowners' conditions, the contractual conditions, and we'll go over them. And let's see what we have here. There's really three sets. Set one is the conditions pertaining to the property policy. In other words, section one of a homeowner's is about property, the dwelling, the other structures, the personal property, and the loss of use. So there's conditions of the policy, contractual conditions that apply to that. We'll discuss that in video one. In video two, I'll discuss the liability conditions. And in video three, I'll discuss conditions that apply to sections 1 and 2. The reason I split it up is when I stream these to YouTube, it's very difficult to stream a very large file. So I'm breaking this up into smaller files. So after this, just go to video 2 and then video 3, and that will be for the conditions anyway. And that's what I plan to do today here. So let's get started. This is the property conditions. The duties of the insured after a loss. So imagine your house burned down, or you had a kitchen fire, or somebody robbed your house, or whatever happened. There's duties, there's things you need to do. One is obvious, right? You're going to notify the insurance company or agent immediately. You need to protect the property from further damage. Let's say that a tree came crashing down into the side of my house and a window broke. It's my duty to protect the inside. In other words, it's my duty to have a handyman come over if I can't do it myself, or a handy person, and nail up like a tarp. I can't just leave the window hanging open and let the inside get further damaged. I need to also prepare an inventory of the loss of the building and personal property. In other words, it's my job to hire a contractor and to value and to list any personal property that was damaged, to get an estimate from a contractor to fix the building, and then to list all the personal property items, if any, that were ruined in the loss. And then they're going to send me paperwork, and they're going to give me something like 30 or 60 days to turn in formal proof of loss. And so it says in the policy you have 60 days to do that. Most people do that much quicker because they want to get paid. So the insurance company furnishes those forms. So that's the duties of the insured after a loss. The loss settlement that we've discussed, but what we've discussed is in class actually appears here in the conditions. So we discussed, like actual cash value and replacement costs. So if you're looking for actual cash value and replacement costs, you go to the section 1 conditions in the policy, and it would discuss actual cash value. We did a lot of examples of that. Where I demonstrated, like with my shirt, maybe it would cost $30 new, but it would sell for maybe $2 or $3 in a garage sale, and that's actual cash value, the $2 or $3. It's what its value is as a used item. However, buildings are valued on replacement cost, and we did a lot with that, with 80% coinsurance and so on. And so what replacement cost means is with a building, whether it's the house itself or in other structures such as a garage, the insurance company is going to repair it or replace it with brand new, similar quality materials. And that's a lot cheaper, by the way, than if they had to pay to locate used materials and pull all the nails out of it. So it works out well that buildings are covered on a replacement cost basis, meaning the insurance company will pay to rebuild it or repair it with brand new, like quality materials. Like quality means oak molding will be replaced with oak molding, and so on. Then we discuss the 80% coinsurance provision. So all of that we discussed. When you want to see it in a policy, where is it? It's in the section 1 conditions under loss settlement. Okay, and we did this penalizes partial losses if you underinsure by more than 80% or less than 80%. And we've done that, so we'll not discuss it any further. And then there's this pair and sets. That's also a property exclusion. Picture like a salt and pepper shaker. Maybe they're like worth a couple $1,000s, like they're crystal, really top quality salt and pepper shakers. And so Donna, in my example, has a $2,000 set or pair of a crystal salt and crystal pepper shaker. Let's say the shaker is stolen. So here it is. She only has a pepper shaker because the salt shaker is stolen. So what's that worth? I mean, without the salt shaker, what's the pepper shaker worth? Well, we're going to say it's worth $200 because maybe that's all it's worth given that there's no matching salt shaker, which makes sense. How much should the insurance company pay on this loss? Well, maybe $1,800, that's the loss in value, or maybe $2,000, they should just buy the insured a new set. So we could, think how it should be, and then we'll show you how this works, what the insurance company does in an example like this. So loss to a pair in a set. So what the insurance company can do, and it's their choice, they could either pay the decline in value, which in this case is $1,800. The set was worth $2,000, but with the salt shaker out of the picture, the pepper alone is only worth $200, so that's a loss of $1,800. It could pay that if it wants to, or it could replace the damaged item. Maybe the insurance company could find the lost salt shaker that was stolen. Maybe somehow online or however, they could find a salt shaker, and maybe it's only going to sell for like $1,150, and they could do that. So continuing with our example, the insurance company could either pay the reduction in value, or we'll assume for $1,150, the insurance company can find the salt shaker, like on eBay. And so the insurance company could either pay the $1,800, or if they prefer, which they wouldn't here, they could pay the $1,150. So what they're going to do is they're going to pay the $1,150 out and less the deductible, and the person's going to have their set back. So what's to remember here? The insurance company could either pay A, the reduction in value after the item or items are lost, or it could pay to replace, and it's always going to choose the lesser amount. Appraisal. Sometimes an insurance company and an insured, they don't agree on the value of an item. They agree the loss existed, that it happened, that it's a legitimate loss, but they can't come together on a price, like a value for the lost or damaged items. So if this happens, what the deal here is that the insured or the insurance company, if they get frustrated in the negotiations, they could activate this condition, this appraisal condition. So what would happen here is the insured hires an appraiser. The insurance company then hires an appraiser. If these two appraisers cannot agree, the insured and insurance company have to split the cost of a third, an umpire appraiser, who will work, and together they'll figure out a value for the lost or damaged items. So the insured or insurance company can activate this appraisal process. Maybe they've been going back and forth on the telephone and maybe even in person, and they've just gotten to the point where maybe the insurance company or the insured, because it could be either, decided, you know what, I'm going to activate the appraisal process. You're going to have to hire an appraiser. We're going to hire an appraiser. If need be, we'll hire a third appraiser, and they're going to decide what the value of the item is. It helps keep this out of the court system. Remember, all of these policies are approved in Trenton by the government, and so the government could want this in there just to keep the court system free of such disputes. Other insurance. If Jim and Tara had two homeowners policies, they could collect twice. So think about that. Maybe Jim and Tara are playing games here. Maybe they think, oh, I know what I'll do. I'll have a State Farm policy and an Allstate policy. I'll pay two. And anytime there's a loss, I'll collect twice. Or maybe it was by accident. Maybe Jim and Tara were getting married, and in the weeks and months leading up to the marriage, Jim bought a policy on their new home, and Tara did too, without knowing which that the others did. So it could happen by accident, or it could be something more purposeful. And that would violate, like having two policies covering one home would violate the principle of indemnity. Every time there's a loss, the insurance industry would be paying out twice. So this condition comes into play when there's more than two policies that cover the same home. This condition comes into play. The insurance company split the loss based on the portion of the total amount of insurance they provide. Well, that's a nice lengthy bullet, but let's see with an example what they mean. So, Jim's State Farm policy. So Jim comes to the table with a State Farm policy. In other words, he insures the house for $375. Tara buys an Allstate policy and it covers the same home for $325. We're going to assume Jim and Tara are living together. They're like married for $325,000. Then they have a $30,000 loss. So I ask myself, how much insurance is on the house? We'll take $375 plus $325, and you have $700,000. Both policies together provide $700,000 of coverage. So what State Farm does, if you take $375, which is the number of thousand of insurance State Farm provides, and you divide it by 700 times 30,000, you get $16,071.43. Allstate, you take $325 divided by 700 times 30,000, and you get $13,928.58. And so that's how they would share this loss. They would share it by proportion of insurance each company has to the total amount on the home. And what it does is it makes certain the principle of indemnity is not violated. Now, you might be wondering about the deductible. We're not going to go there. The deductible on the State Farm policy might be $250, and on the Allstate be $1,000. It could get complicated. So just know that don't worry about the deductible. It's less than those amounts are paid less than deductible, but don't worry about splitting the deductibles up. That's beyond the scope of what we're trying to do here. Suit against the insurance company. So here I am. I'm mad at my insurance company. They're not doing what I think they should be doing, and I want to file a lawsuit. So that's what this is about. I'm going to file a lawsuit as an insured against my insurance company. So what this tells me is I have the right to sue only after I've complied with all the policy provisions. So by law, I have to be sure I reported the loss and filled out the claim forms and prepared an inventory before I have the right to sue my insurance company. It also requires, so the second requirement is that if I am going to sue my insurance company, I have to bring the suit to the courts within 1 year. So there's two parts to that condition, both bullets, sub-bullets. Settlement option at insurance company settlement at insurance company option. The insurance company retains the right to repair or replace any damaged or lost item. For example, if your gazebo was destroyed when a tree falls on it, the insurance company could send you a new one and have it set up in your backyard. Or what they could do is they could have it repaired. So they have the choice to repair or replace any damaged item. The insurance company must notify the insured of this right within 30 days of receiving written proof of loss. So once I put in my written proof of loss, the insurance company has 30 days to notify me of this option that they have. They could either try to repair the item or replace it. Loss payment. The insurance company has 60 days after agreeing to the amount of the loss to pay the insured. So you can imagine that they've agreed to pay the loss. They actually have 60 days to send you a check. Having worked in insurance companies always pay a lot quicker than that. I've never seen them wait that long to pay an insured, although perhaps it does happen. Most insurance companies pay much sooner. Abandonment of property. Picture this. My house burns down. It's a mess. I don't want to pay my property taxes. I don't want to pay my mortgage anymore. And I just walk off and say, you know what? The insurance company will clean up this mess. I'm moving to Florida, or I'm moving upstate or downstate. I'm moving away. The insurance company does not have to accept the property abandoned by the insured. So what this is saying is the insurance company does not have to accept property that the insured's walked away from. For example, they may abandon the property after a major fire and try to force the insurance company to take over. Think of all the things that have to be done. The insured would expect the insurance company to hire a cleanup crew to clean up the charred remains of the home, the debris removal, to contract with a builder, to pay the property tax, to pay the mortgage, etc. So this clause, it seeks to prevent it. It's saying here the insurance company is not responsible if the insured abandons the property. So what it's trying to prevent is the insured simply walking away and leaving the insurance company to clean up the mess. The mortgage clause. So this mainly protects the bank who grants the mortgage. Think if you're a banker and you're granting loans and you're thinking, oh man, I know the insurance policy that if an insured intentionally damages their property, it's not covered. In other words, the insurance company doesn't have to pay. What if this client of mine who's taking out a mortgage, what if she's an arson and she burns down our house? Are we not going to get paid? And so this is really about making sure the bank is protected. So if the insured burns down her house, remember intentional losses are excluded. But according to this condition, if an insured burns down her house, she won't be paid a dime. However, the bank's mortgage will be satisfied. And so this protects the bank in the case of an insured purposely damaging their own property. The insurance company will make sure that the bank is satisfied. But if it's a $300,000 house with a $200,000 mortgage on it, the bank will pay out, the insurance company will pay off the $200,000 mortgage, although, of course, they won't pay anything to the insured. Now, what this also says is the bank has the right to receive 10 days notice of a non-renewal or cancellation. And so imagine you're a banker and someone's house could burn down, right, without insurance on it. So when you get an insurance policy, the bank is listed on the policy. And what happens here is if the policy is going to cancel or non-renew, the bank gets a 10-day notice of the non-renewal or cancellation. Cancellation is when the insurance company decides in the middle of the policy year, like let's say the policy runs from July 1 to June 30th. They decide in October that they're going to cancel the insured. Let's say that they're getting like dog bite claims. So that's cancellation. It's in the middle of the policy year. Non-renewal would be, okay, it's like May 31st, and the insurance company sends a note out to the insured that their policy coming up for renewal in July is not going to be renewed. In other words, the insurance company is not going to renew the policy. The insured needs to go elsewhere. In either of those instances, the bank has the right to receive 10 days notice. The bank has obligations too. It must notify the insured if there's a change in ownership or occupancy. Sometimes somebody will title their home with their child, preparing to die, or maybe they title it as a business. They retitle the home as now commercial property. And so if that happens, it's the bank's responsibility to notify the insurance company of the change in ownership / occupancy of the home. So the bank has obligations under this condition as well, this mortgage clause. And the bank must pay premiums due if the insured fails to do so. That's another obligation of the bank. And it must file any claim forms if the insured fails to do so. So picture this for that last bullet. Let's say that the insured passes away, and then I guess the executor of the estate could do it. But if that person really can't do it, the bank is going to file the claim forms to have the claims settled. No benefit to bailee clause. The policy covers the insured, not bailees, such as the dry cleaner. To really get this, remember that your personal items are covered worldwide. So like if you have expensive clothing and a bunch of it's up at the dry cleaner, technically it's covered there. So let's say a dry cleaner gets robbed and he tells his customers, go collect from your insurance company. Your personal property is covered worldwide on your homeowners. Don't collect from me, collect from your insurance company. What this clause says is it says the insurance company is not covering the bailee, it's covering the insured. So in this scenario, the insurance company will indeed, it'll pay out on the claim to the insured, but then under this clause, it has the right to go subrogate against the dry cleaner to collect the money. So the dry cleaner is really not off the hook after all. Bailees such as dry cleaners, this is what insurance is telling them under this clause, the insurance industry. It's saying, look, you're a bailee like a dry cleaner. In other words, bailee means you're taking in property of others, like a dry cleaner does. You need to have a commercial policy to cover the items that are under your care, custody, and control. They can't simply tag on to homeowners' policies. Recovered property. So this is, let's say something was stolen, and then a month later the police contact you and they found your property. Let's say it was a big screen TV. And so what happened in my little example here is your items were stolen and then they were recovered. However, you've already collected from the insurance. So now what do I do? The insured has two options. One, they could reclaim the covered item and pay back the money it received from the insurance company. In other words, give me back my TV, and then I'll send the insurance company back the check that it paid me after it was stolen. Or I could return the covered item to the insurance company. Either way. For example, your antique desk was stolen and you collected $2,750 from your insurance company, Allstate, for example. Months later, in a sting operation, the police find your desk. They find a big warehouse where thieves have been stashing stuff they've been stealing. So first of all, it's your legal responsibility to notify the insurance company. Then it's your option. It's not the insurance company's option. It's the insured's option to keep the desk and return the $2,750 to the insurance company, or to keep the money and let the insurance company pick up the desk that was recovered. So when under there where it says pick up the desk, put the recovered desk. Not the new one that you bought with the money, but the recovered one, the one the police found. Volcanic eruption period. Of all volcanic eruptions occurring with 72 hours are considered one loss. Most volcanic eruptions are back-to-back, occurring over a few days. And so imagine an insurance company saying, well, wait, yeah, your house was damaged by a volcanic eruption. However, there were like 7 of them within a 2-day period. So we're going to take your deductible and $1,000, let's say, is your deductible, and multiply it by 7. So somebody would say, oh, now I have to pay the deductible of $7,000 because it's per occurrence, and there were 7 volcanic eruptions during that time. So what it has to do is it protects the insured from paying their deductible more than once. For example, one major eruption occurs on Monday, and then 2 smaller ones on Tuesday and Wednesday morning. And that shakes the ground. It could do a lot of damage. And so these 3 eruptions are considered one loss, so the insured only has to pay 1 deductible. So that last bullet and sub-bullet in red are real helpful in bringing together what this means. The limit of liability. Here it's clearly stated that the insurance company will not pay more than its stated limit of liability. Oh, okay, so that's the section 2. We're going to do that next, so I'm going to stop this video and then go on to the next one. Thank you.